REC Experience presents Real Estate, Entrepreneurship, Leadership with your host, Jas Takhar. The REC Experience podcast is now on air.
Hey, thanks for being in the REC Experience. I'm your host, Jas Takhar, with your girl, virtually, Laura Stewart. What's happening, Laura?
Hello. What's up?
The office is reopening kind of in phases, even though we were deemed essential services since day one. We decided at REC that we're all going to kind of work from home. So for the past 10 weeks, we've been doing that. But now we're starting to get back into the office. You are here at the office, but we are
in separate offices.
Practicing physical and social distancing. I'm in the studio here. I got my mask on the other side. You have yours, and anybody who comes in, actually, like right across our 1,100 agents across Rural LePage Signature at 3 offices. Not that everyone's going to be coming in at the same time, but you do need to come in with a mask. You need to sign in. We need to know where you came from. So, I mean, I'm loving what the brokers have done.
Actually, just this room before we started here today, they have people going around and cleaning all the surfaces throughout the day. So just constantly going around, wiping off the keyboards, wiping off the light switches and the handles. And so I think they're doing a really, really good job in terms of trying to keep things as clean as possible. And then, of course, they're asking people, like, only come if you really need to. Obviously, given what we do with our team and just the number of deals, you know, it was tough to do it from home, but we did our best. And, you know, I think given that we made the virtual office, we did what we could with it. I was
going to say, right? Like, I was going to say that, Laura. Like, I think when we started this, and it's definitely my fault, because I was saying, look, we're all going to take kind of a couple of weeks off, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It'll be a vacation. Never did I think that we were going to be able to, that it was going to be this long. And at that time, if you told me it was going to be 10 weeks, I was like, no way. Like, how are we going to figure this out? But it's so funny how when you have no choice, you kind of figure it out. Like, as you mentioned,
people adapt, and it was almost I have to adapt now the other way. Now I'm back at the office, and the routine that I had just created for 10 weeks is, you know, I had to adapt again. And so I feel, you know, just the same way I almost did the first time around when we first went home, and where's my stuff and my computer and my cords, and like nothing's where it needs to be. And now it's kind of like the same thing because I got so used to working that way. But I must admit, it's good to be back. It's great to see some familiar faces. Obviously, most of our team still isn't here, but it's good to see people, like, you know, in person, face to face, even if they do have a mask covering their face.
Even us, like even our support staff and our admin staff, we decided that because we have 3 offices in the back, one, being the studio here, we decided that we'll have 3, maximum 4 people, because right in our open area outside the studio, for anybody who's been here, there's kind of like an open area with the desk. We said, okay, we're going to have maximum 4 people. Most of the time it is really only 3. And so we're still, now we're adapting, as you mentioned, to the new normal. And I was going to say driving in the past couple of days has been interesting because I can start to see the traffic pick up again, but it's nothing similar to what I'm used to.
Like, you're probably liking that because you always had such a long commute.
I did, but you know what, Laura? I actually, during the lockdown, I missed it because it was my time.
How was your time? Yeah, you used to listen to podcasts. You always call it like no extra time, right? So whether it's listening to podcasts or listening to audiobooks, I know you used to use that time certainly to think about your day and what the team had to accomplish. And so I can see why you've missed that. But my gosh, you were busy during this time. You definitely took no time off, not even a second. You actually started Nightcap with Jas, which is now one of the more successful little, you know, social media things that we've done here. So why don't you talk to everybody about that? If they haven't heard of it already, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. So, well, if you didn't, shameless plug time, and thank you for that. It's every weeknight, so Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. live on Instagram. I some days go kind of on a soliloquy and just go on a rant about what was going on in my day with clients and just the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And then sometimes I bring on guests, and I've had some really cool guests that I've had the ability to bring on to Nightcap. It's just a different platform, doing it through Instagram, but it really started from the like where I had no choice in a sense, because we were scheduled to be going all over North America this year. We had plans to be in Alberta, in Vancouver, in Quebec. We were going
we were planning trips down to California.
I forgot the California trip. California, Dallas, New Orleans. There was a podcast event that they wanted us to talk about what we've been doing with our podcast and the success of it. And I was going to share all the stories, how we got started. And then the lockdown came, and I sat down by myself, and I said, "Oh, like I want to continue to sharpen the skills. What am I going to do? How am I going to continue to get out there?" So one thing that we did from a real estate perspective for our clients, so then they didn't think that we were just lost. And the thirst, we got a lot of clients asking in terms of, hey, like, we still want to be educated, or is there opportunities around? And
that's the beauty of it. People had time. Like, so normally, we would ask people to come to events and on Saturdays or Sundays. And now it was like, just come to an event. You don't even have to get out of your pajamas. And we're still going to show up in your house via webinar. And I think people were really hungry for information, knowledge, and quite frankly, just probably some entertainment, to be honest.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, Ren. So we brought guests on for brunch with REC every Saturday morning, 10:30. It's a live webinar. We have 400 or 500 people that watch. Come on live. Like, that's huge. Like when we do live events on a Saturday pre-COVID, we would have 80, 90, 110 people. But now we got it to 500. But I was thinking, okay, how am I still want to do more? And I saw some people doing Insta lives, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I just got to press play and be myself. And if 2-3 people come on, and the first day it was you and Tyler and Luke that joined, and Simos that just joined, it was almost like we were just having kind of a meeting. And then the next day it was like 10 people and
a couple more. Yeah, it's kind of snowballed for you. And it's so interesting to see over a 5-week period of time, like people like almost have it scheduled into their calendars. Like 9:00 is Nightcap with Jas, and they'll like move things around just to make sure that they're on it. Like I usually go to bed at 9, but I've obviously been staying up later just to see your guests.
You don't go to bed at 9. No. Don't be saying that you go to bed at 9. You go to bed at like 8:10, 8:15 or something.
I don't. I go to bed at 9.
Yeah. But like, as I said, I wanted to hope in the hopes of doing these nightcaps, or just really like just doing the content in general. I was having a conversation just before you and I came on with a good friend. Well, starting to become a good friend and a longtime supporter. And she mentioned to me, she's like, Jas, you finally got me started with doing video. I've been seeing your growth. But the one person I didn't think I was going to inspire that quickly was you. You started Après with Elto. I think you call it Après with Laura Stewart, but I can't call you Laura Stewart.
I don't really know. Well, I'm certainly not doing it every night, because for me, again, like many people that you speak to and try to inspire, I'm not used to video either. I've done a few of like, put the phone up, do your little selfie, but I always found it a little bit awkward. And then I would do it again. Like even if I messed up ever so slightly, I would do it again. And before I know it, like half an hour of my day is taken just to record a 1-minute video. It was ridiculous. But something about the platform of Instagram Live, kind of like you're live, you're like, you can't stop. And you also don't, like if you make a mistake, just like I just did there, you don't really know where your sentences are going. You don't stop just because of that. There's no editing involved, and you just put yourself out there. You see who comes on. Same thing for me. I think there was like 3 people. It was probably you, Luke, and Tyler who joined, because I told you guys on the virtual office that I was going to try. But you kind of challenged me. Like you put it out there like she's not going to do it. So then I had to show you that I was going to do it. Now I've been consistent every Friday. I'm doing it around 6 p.m. when we're done work for the week. And I sit inside my closet and kind of talk. Like I have a walk-in closet, and that's my happy place, because
Yeah, why did you choose that? Like, why is that your happy place? Because that's where all the shoes and the clothes are. Like, that's where the fashionista
Yeah.
in
I
you
don't know,
comes out.
something about that space is very fun for me. I wear a lot of bright colored clothes, and so the room is mostly white, but then all the splashes of color. And clothes for me have a lot of meaning. I remember a lot of pieces of clothing that I wore to certain events or situations. And I remember when I got my first paycheck, I was wearing this outfit. And I keep my clothes. I tend to buy better quality clothes and then keep them for a long period of time. And so there's a lot of memories and good times and feelings wrapped up into all of it. And so I just sit there and I have my glass of wine and amongst my outfits and shoot the shit. I've had a few of my friends and special guests on as well. And it was really fun. And I must admit, just being like, you kind of shoved me to do it a little bit. And I recommend it to anybody because every time I'm done, like I'm nervous before, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And then as soon as I did it, first of all, no one's watching. Like the first time you do it, really, no one's watching. And it will grow. But like, it's not like you have 1,000 people watching you day one. You might have 10. So relax. You know what I mean? And they're usually your friends. And so, but as you grow over time, you start to become less and less concerned about it. And what I used to think for a week, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about? Last week, I was like, oh, shoot, I got home from work and I was like, I got to think of something to talk about. I had 10 minutes kind of like prepare my thoughts, and just getting that much more comfortable and confident has been an amazing thing. Once it's all over, I'm like, I feel so good. I pat myself on the back and I'm like, good for you because I did it. And so I really appreciate you for kind of like nudging me and then nudging everyone else you speak to, like put yourself out there. It's really not that bad.
And I think I think you can attest to it too, also, that like when you just get started, and well, let me take a step back. Some people ask like, why should, well, Jas, it makes sense for you to put out content. You run a business, you're looking for clients, you're wanting to inspire people. I get it. But why should I'm a real estate investor, or I have a passion in pop and root beer and beer or wine. And so why should I even do it? Well, in my opinion, and I'm talking out of experience, it has opened up so many doors I didn't even know that were there to be open for me. You know what I'm saying, Laura? Like, I'm speaking to people right across the world. I'm meeting some of the most exciting, like I'm hearing some of the most exciting stories. We got a chance to meet Mark Victor Hansen, and we're becoming close friends. I mean, he was joking yesterday. He came on my nightcap a couple of nights ago, actually, and said, hey, man, like, can I call you my best friend now? I just love the energy that you guys are putting out there. This is a guy who sold the most books in the world of all time. Like, I didn't picture me having a relationship with him and a friendship with him when we got started, but it starts to snowball. As a real estate investor, if you're listening to this or watching this right now, guys, like, you need to produce content, because at one point you might hit a wall in your investing journey where you might not be able to get financing. And so, like, from traditional financing, and you might need to do joint ventures, or you might need private money. How does someone trust you? Well, it comes to credibility. And so what have you done in the past? If you start right now documenting what you're going through, the ups and downs of investing, the ups and downs of the business that you're in, because somebody might be listening or watching this and say, well, like, I'm not successful right now. Nobody cares about that. In fact, people want to watch the journey. That's how it's just basic storytelling. We like the come up story.
That's how we connect, right? Yeah.
It's how we connect.
And I was going to say, it's interesting. Like, a lot of people might say, well, Jas, again, like, I understand that you're talking about what you do for a daily living, but what I do, like, I'm not allowed to talk about what I do for a living just because of where I work, or I work at, I work in HR, whatever company. Like, why would I produce content about it? And I don't produce that much content around my job, to be honest with you. Well, my whole point is I'm not just a realtor. You know what I mean? I have a lot of other things that I'm excited and passionate about. And even if nothing comes from it, essentially I get to go home and write blogs or do Instagram lives and videos about stuff that I like. And that makes it a lot more fun. And it's kind of become a hobby. I actually got on my Facebook feed today that it's a year today I posted my very first blog post. Again, that was something that you said I should get into. And so it's been a year. I think I have 15 posts, 15 blogs that I wrote, and they're all over the place. Like some are about makeup, some are about investing in real estate, some are about when I was younger and I had an amazing mentor.
You call it Laura's playlist, meaning that you're showing everything that you're going through in life and your likes, and who wouldn't want to talk about themselves or more.
Exactly. And if you can't connect with somebody on one topic, chances are you'll be able to connect with them on another topic. And so, obviously going niche is great. And if you have a niche topic that you want to discuss, go all in. But if you're kind of like, I don't really know, just do something, see where it goes. I get a lot of amazing feedback from people on social media who say like, I love that you do this. And even when you think like no one's paying attention, then all of a sudden you'll bump into somebody. Well, not lately, but you'll bump into somebody and they'll say, oh, I've noticed, I've seen you. Like, that's so inspired me to start doing this, that, and the other. And you think, oh my gosh, that's such a powerful tool. So I really, really recommend people take your advice and just get started.
And look, if you're scared, understand everyone was scared until they did it. Like in anything that they did in life, becoming, opening a business, starting content, starting a new job, cooking, whatever it was, everyone was scared until they did it. Like if you remember your first time you drove, I'm sure it was 10 and 2, holding that steering wheel nice and tight. And then over time,
my dad lost some hair that day.
now you're on a cell phone, drinking coffee, eating a snack.
I'm not on my cell phone.
Not you. I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general people. As you can, when you drive on the 401, you see it. Doing your makeup and like over time, you'll get comfortable with it, but you'll also get really good at it. And now, you spoke about video, Laura. Like, you don't need to do video. Like that's not the only way that we as humans consume content. I mean, that's one way. And obviously there's billions of people that go on YouTube every single day, but you can also just do audio. If you don't like to see yourself, or you don't want other people to see you for whatever, and that might be an insecurity or that just might be who you are. Don't let that stop you, because we also consume content through listening. And so you can start a podcast like we did, and then it starts to snowball. If you don't like anybody seeing your face or hearing your voice, then you can write. There's so many.
That's exactly why I started with writing, because I was nervous about it. I gotta say though, the one thing that I'm hoping has come out of all this isolation and Zoom meetings and calls with everybody is that I'm starting to see get a little bit more comfortable doing a Zoom call, right? They used to be nervous, like, oh my God, I'm going to be on this picture. But you know that people are going to see you and hear you one way or another. Like clients will eventually see what you look like, or whoever you work with. They know what you look like. You're not kidding anybody. You're not fooling anybody. So you may as well just get over it. The sooner the better. I tell you, it's a freedom of the soul in a way.
It is, right? Because and then you start to hear that you're inspiring people, and I think that when you start to hear that you're inspiring people, that's when you get those feelings of just happiness. And if you want to attract more, that's how you're going to start to attract more happiness. Like will always attract like, and so it's one of the reasons why I surround myself with the people I surround myself with, because the attitude, it's a very positive environment, very optimistic, and that's why I continue to get more of that in my life. And so we all know that if like you are who you kind of hang out with. This is nothing new. You haven't heard this. You haven't not heard this before. And so I implore you to start auditing the people that you're hanging out with and giving time to, because if you don't drown out that negative noise, you're just going to get more negativity in your life. And how do you drown it out? You put more positive information in your head through books, audiobooks, podcasts. I hope our podcast, I hope this conversation is something that's positive, that you look forward to every single Wednesday, that you're going to hear positive stories and inspiring stories to understand that whatever you want to do, you can do, because somebody's already done it. You just need to now reverse engineer what somebody's already done.
I 100% agree. And unfortunately, that might mean you may have to make some difficult decisions. You may have to, hurt some people's feelings a little bit as you start to pull away. But at the end of the day, this is your life, and you need to make the decisions that are right for you and where you want to go, and nobody else, right?
Now, you made some massive routine changes during this time in lockdown. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, maybe I shouldn't say massive. So before COVID lockdown, I wake up at 4:30. I do my gym in the morning, and I was always writing blogs and stuff in the morning. But then for the first 5 weeks of isolation, I just fell off. Like that all fell to the wayside. I was starting to wake up later and later, and it was really becoming and not working out. And I was starting to get a little bit down on myself. And so one day I just woke up and I just made the decision, like, I'm putting a stop to this because I don't know now how long this is going to last. At first I was like, whatever, 2 weeks, it'll be like a mini vacation. And then I was like, oh, like this is going to last a while. So now 5:30, my alarm goes off 5 days a week. I get up, I write my blog, or I'm working on the book in the morning because I feel like that's when my mind's the freshest. I take my dog for a 45-minute walk with my husband. I really enjoy that time because I didn't used to walk my dog that much. We had a dog walker, luckily, but now I get to see all his little antics, and it's been a lot of fun. And then I do half an hour, either meditation, yoga, Pilates, or cardio. And I kind of mix it up every day just to keep it a little bit different. Meditation's brand new to me. And I got to say, it was the hardest thing. I would rather lift weights any day than do meditation. I found it so difficult. I am not a calm and collected person. I am not Zen at my heart. And just the idea of sitting still with your own thoughts was it made me
How many weeks has it?
The first day I tried it.
How many weeks has it been since you've been doing kind of the meditation and yoga?
I'm going to say 6 weeks now, and it's gotten better. Week one, after 10 minutes, I gave up, and I almost I was tears welling in my eyes, because if I can't do something, it pisses me off. And it's not like when you're lifting weights where it's just try harder and you kind of mentally power your way through. This was the opposite. It's like golf. You don't try harder in golf. You get to take a breath and swing and allow the momentum to do the work. And I'm just not good at that. And so, but now, as I kept saying, I got to just stick with it. If it's something that's difficult to me, it probably means I need it more than anybody. And so I kept sticking with it. Now I'm really enjoying it. I'm finding I'm pausing throughout the day a little bit more when I'm starting to get worked up and a little bit anxious over some things that are happening. It's I'm checking myself, stop, think of your breath. What can you control? And I'm starting to learn some new tools. I guess I have new tools in the toolbox, which I'm really, really enjoying. So for anyone who thinks yoga is silly and meditation silly, trust me, I did too. I was kind of what is all this BS? I'm gonna go to the gym and flip tires. That was kind of my thing. But
I was gonna say, for anybody who doesn't know Elto, she's like a little fireball, comes into the office and it's just it doesn't stop yapping. And now I feel like you are a lot more present, even in the virtual office when things are starting to get hectic and there's deadlines and we need to get our opportunities up on the website, and you got to do all the write-up for the emails and all that kind of stuff. You're just no problem, it will happen. It will happen. You
generally bring out my anxious side in me, so I blame you for it. But now I have tools on how to deal with all the things that you throw at me all the time. And, I think it's just, you have to work out your mind just as much as anything else. And you have to learn, you have to learn better ways of dealing with the things that the world throws at you. Because as we've just learned, sometimes you're going to get thrown things that you didn't think were coming, that you don't have any experience dealing with. And I think if you have a strong mindset, a strong foundation, it'll just allow you to deal with things that much better, which is all one can ask for.
Well, and look, I think at the end of the day, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but scientists have only uncovered approximately 10 to 13% of the capability of the brain, right? It's to me, it's not the biggest muscle we got, but it's the most important muscle because it controls everything else. And if you're not training the most important muscle, I think you need to question what you're up to, because the brain is going, and if you start to train it more, you're going to be able to get calm in situations. You're going to be able to get so much more done. You're going to be able to achieve so many of your objectives that you're looking into doing. And I can say out of experience again that once you start to think about what you want, the opportunities are everywhere. It's not like you have to look for opportunities, guys and girls. Opportunity is everywhere. You just need to get in the way of it. And that might come through people. That might come through circumstances. It might come through writing a book. It might like doing content.
Getting in the way of it and just seeing it. Like sometimes an opportunity comes by people and they didn't even see it. Right. It was there and they just didn't grasp onto it. And it's funny, Mark Victor Hansen was saying yesterday on your nightcap, he was talking about like, if you ask the questions, like the answers will come. And so I kind of went to bed last night thinking that very thing, like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? If you keep asking, the answers will come. And if you keep saying, like, he mentioned, like, I'm going to sell, what was it, like 500,000 books this year? And people like laughed at him, like, okay, you're going to sell 500,000 books this year. And he did, like, with not a lot of experience necessarily prior. He just said, I'm going to give myself a problem. I'm going to give my mind a problem and it will find a solution. He said, always make your problems positive, right? Don't make them negative. He said, what if he invested in something. He said, what if I go bankrupt? What if I go bankrupt? And then guess what? He went bankrupt. And so flipped the script. He started giving himself the positive question.
Look, I mean,
thank you for bringing all these amazing people to us so that I can learn from them.
Well, it's not just me. I mean, you have a huge part in it. The rest of the media squad has a huge part. Like, I mean, again, going back to I got the right people around me now. And I've been saying externally, like out loud, I've been talking about that. I think I'm going to be that much more like deadly now in terms of the execution of what I want done, because now I got people around me, right? And so I'm not doing this by myself. I'm trying not to make as many decisions, because it's like, you'll ask me a question, I'm like, Laura, you decide, or Stephen, you decide, Clem, you decide. Like, I don't need to make every single decision. Tai, you've been with me for 5-6 years. You make the decision. And so I'm starting to, like, it's why I want people to be part of the journey of what we're up to. And one way of doing that, the other exciting thing that we got done during this pandemic was the new website, the personal website I came out with at jastakhar.ca. There's going to be a monthly newsletter that comes out on the 13th. 13 is my lucky number. And so the team was like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's come out with a newsletter every single month. It's really the spot. Jastakhar.ca is the spot to go for all things content that I produce: video, audio, blog, all the guests that I bring on, the recordings of the nightcap that Alton has made.
Nightcaps, yeah.
Yeah, it's all in kind of.
I gotta say, I've taken a look at the website, obviously a few times, helping decide like what kind of content, where to put anything. And Stephen on our team did an incredible job. If you want to see an example of a beautiful looking website, you need to go to this one. It's incredible. It's one of my favorite things that we've really done thus far.
Yeah, it's something different, right? It's a little different. It doesn't have the corporate feel that REC Canada does, because REC should have that.
Yeah, it's got that Rex feel to it.
Yeah, and REC Canada, yeah, a little Rex feel to it. REC Canada is the place that you want to go for all things real estate. Where at jastakhar.ca, I want to showcase the journey more, the ups and downs that, like, for example, as I mentioned earlier, I'm learning how to let go more, to not make as many decisions, because I got the right people around me. They can make and then I look around.
And what people don't realize is, like, you get a lot of no's. You know what I mean? Like, you put yourself out there to try and be on people's podcasts, or to get people on our podcast, clients who are interested in purchasing something and then back out at the last minute. I mean, being in real estate and being an entrepreneur or working in that type of environment is like a roller coaster. The ups and downs, they're pretty extreme, even within like a 1 hour period of time. And so what I'm hoping people can gain from following you and going to your website and watching all the content is really, like, it's not all rosy. It's not like you just woke up and everything worked out for you. Although sometimes I do think you have some horseshoes up your ass, but generally speaking, that doesn't mean things go smoothly across the board for you. That's what's so interesting about it, right? Because then it makes people see, like, shit, well, okay, like, that means I can do it too. Like, you know, if he can do it, I can do it.
Well, look at me. Like, I'm not, like, I don't got the looks of Brad Pitt. I don't got the voice of Beyonce by any means. But I'm really just trying to be as authentic as I possibly can, as you are. And I, again, anybody who wants to start in producing content or starting a business, do something and find something that will keep you up late at night and get you out of bed early in the morning. What would you do? What would you
late at night, but like at 9. Like go to bed at 9.
Yeah. But like, what would you want to do every single day of the rest of your life? Do that. You'll be able to monetize it and earn money. And here's the other thing. Like, I think people need to start asking themselves, do you want to make $500,000 and not be happy? Or are you okay if you can make $97,000 and be as happy as a pig and you know what, right? And so if, like, you need to ask yourself, for me, I'm okay with making less money because I want to live in happiness. I want to do something that makes me get up early in the morning and keeps me up late at night. Like, I'm doing research about what guests.
You want to be excited to start the day. And so if the money doesn't come, at least you're doing something that you love. And the irony is a lot of times if you're doing something you love and you're working so hard at it because you love it, it's a hobby, you end up making pretty decent money in the end. And so if you just got to be chasing the right thing.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I mean, there's definitely a certain, like, if you just want to make money, there's ways of doing that. You can find that, you can go and get that information, especially in today's day and age, where, you know, Google anything, YouTube it, listen to podcasts, read books about it. But I've come to learn not only through my own personal experience, the thousands of hours of content that I've recorded with some of the most successful people in the world. And they'll tell you, yeah, like, look, it's nice to have the freedom in terms of money, but that's not what truly brings me happiness. Not the fact that my bank account, and I'm not talking about personally about myself, I'm talking about the guests that I've spoken about, like, they got tons of money, millions upon millions of dollars, but some of them weren't happy with what they were doing. And I think you even took a course with online course, Elto, with at Yale, I think it was, right?
Yeah, at the beginning of this.
And they were speaking
it's Yale's course. It's called The Science of Well-Being.
And it's free from what I remember. So anyone can take it.
Yeah, I think it still probably is.
It probably still is free. And I remember you bringing something across me, and I've heard this in the past, but I forgot it. And when you brought it across my table, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think it was $72,000 or $77,000. Once you make above $77,000, there's thousands of people that were surveyed and that they studied. I apologize. The happiness changed by like 0.5% or something. The rate, or like their happiness.
Yeah, no, I think it was like nothing. It changed by 0. So if you make 75 grand, if you make $75,000 in $1 or $125,000, you are no happier than you were when you made $75,000. And so, you know, maybe $75,000 is a good number to chase. I'm not saying that should be your ultimate goal, but apparently, like, that just affords you a life, generally speaking, a lifestyle that most people are comfortable with. They don't necessarily have to worry about paying their bills from week to week. And that sense of freedom is what makes people happy. But after that, just like go do exactly what you love, and then stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about the money now.
The right people will come into the right people will come into your life. The right opportunities are already there, as we mentioned. You'll just start to. There's a reticular activator in your brain that gets activated and turned on. It's like when you purchase a brand new red Honda Accord. You never saw them before, but the day that you're driving in your new red Honda Accord, you see them everywhere. They were there before. It's just now that your brain's starting to look for it. You know, for example, if everyone right now just close their eyes, and if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you're in the room and you know, pick everything out that's red in your room right now. And while you have your eyes closed, if I ask you now to pick out everything yellow, you might have a hard time doing that because your brain will always come up with the answer. Your brain, whatever you focus on, you'll bring it about. And so I know we've been speaking about this really during this whole podcast episode, but it has been the biggest game changer for us personally, for me, and I think, Laura, you'll attest to it. But even once we went into this pandemic, I mean, around us was so much noise about that businesses are going to close, and some people, obviously, and unfortunately, and I'm very sensitive to that, their businesses did close. But we just decided that we were going to kind of put ourselves in a little bit of a bubble, like an artificial bubble, and say to ourselves that, look, we know that businesses are closing. We also know that people are losing their jobs. We also know that we're not going to do what we thought we were going to be able to do originally. But that doesn't mean we still can't shoot for it. Let's just play a game. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy our time that you're with your family, I'm with my family, and the rest of the team is with the family. But we can still work, and we can still try to figure it out. And I'm happy to say, I'm very excited to say that we got really close, really, really close to our initial targets that we were on track to do. And so that all happened.
We never quit. We kept moving forward. Jas, I got to tell you, I am about to die. This Zoom eats up my computer battery, so we should probably call it a day here. But yeah, definitely we kept it moving during COVID, and I hope everyone who's listening takes that as some inspiration to keep up the good work and keep it moving as well.
Well, Alto, you keep on practicing social distancing. Guys and gals that are listening, as always, leave us a comment below. If you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook or on any of the other social platforms, make sure to go check out jastakhar.ca. Make sure to leave a review on the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to right now. We don't charge for the information in the podcast, but we do ask that you leave us a review, because then it helps the algorithm on wherever you're watching and listening, especially YouTube. So if you haven't pressed the like button or subscribed, it would mean the world to us if you did that. Alto, I don't know if you have any more battery left. You want to leave our viewers and listeners with a tip?
A tip?
Yeah.
Just go do it. Just do it. Stop listening to us. Stop watching us. Go do it. You have all the tools. Trust me. You just need to get started. Just get started.
And there's not much I can say after that. Like that's pretty much it. I'll just add to it and say thank you, and reach out to us if you need something. I mean, we can't always help in every single situation that you're in, but we will try our best. We hope you're safe. We hope your family is safe. And as I mentioned, either way, reach out to us. Thanks so much, guys, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Take care, Alto. All right.
Bye.
This has been the REC Experience Podcast with Jas Takhar, an REC Canada production.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Please take a second right now to subscribe and follow us on whatever podcast platform you're watching or listening. It means the world to me. Thank you.